Welcome to the Young Turks coverage of the latest Republican debate. We believe it is the 89th one in this cycle. So it is going to be in Iowa. And the big drama, of course, was whether Donald Trump was going to show up or not. And John, the word is, and I'm getting this in my ear. Actually, I will get it in my ear in a second.
That's true.
That he will not show up. He is, the earlier reporting was that he had moved up his veteran event for veterans, which we now found out is actually just goes to the Donald J. Trump Foundation.
Yeah.
He's going to move that he was going to move it up an hour so that maybe he could do that event and then come join the debate. Well, it turns out, no, it is going to start at the same time as the debate.
Is the debate in Iowa?
Yes.
Okay.
So
that would make it easier.
And we are hearing that the Eagle has landed, and Donald Trump's plane has touched down in Iowa. He's going to be speaking at Drake University for veterans.
I take that to be hardcore proof that his plane will not be showing up on the debate stage. We'll see about him.
So now a lot of networks have decided that they're going to cover the Trump debate because they don't have, the Trump appearance. They don't have the rights to the debate. Only Fox News has that. But anybody can carry Trump's speech. So a lot of online networks are going to be carrying it, and they shall remain nameless.
They shouldn't.
They absolutely positively shouldn't, if you ask me. CNN might or might not go to it, they say. Trust me, they'll go to it. C-SPAN is going to cover it in its entirety. First of all, him giving a speech, BSing about veterans, is not that interesting.
He does that every day.
So I think
this is the same thing he always does.
Right. So I think what they should do is what we're doing, which is we've got reporters on the ground. Of course, if news happens, and Trump's crazy, news could happen at any time, well, then we'll cover it. But to preemptively say, okay, I'm not going to listen to the debate of any of the other Republican nominees.
Yeah.
Instead, I'm going to hear this guy babble on about his own ego again, call everyone in the world a mess except himself, and I'm going to devote all of my programming to that. I think that's mental.
It's insane. I didn't actually think of, like, I obviously didn't want them to cover it, but I didn't think about it until you put it that way. This is nothing other than a campaign speech that he gives every day.
Yeah.
And, well, to be fair, they normally cover that in its entirety. He is basically showing that he just gets to say, yes, all of you are going to cover my BS speech where I'm going to say absolutely nothing new, and you're going to cover it, and they're going to cover it. And they're going to...
And think about...
God damn it.
See, other suckers went and raised hundreds of millions of dollars through their super PACs to buy ads. He's like, I don't need any ads. This is in prime time. I'm going to get actual programming time where you are going to cover my speech in prime time as opposed to all the other Republicans speaking and debating at the same time. It's millions upon millions of dollars in essence in free advertising.
They'll have to give that same amount to the other candidates because we have a system where, no. I wish the newsroom was still around for this. I wish there was another season so they could go over Trump as a candidate.
Okay, so of course, funny enough, we are telling people to go to Fox News today. No, stay right here. We're going to have audio of it, and we're going to do play-by-play as we always do. Now, I mentioned we have a reporter in the field. That's Jordan Chariton, and he is at Drake University right now. Jordan, how you doing, brother?
Hey, guys. How are you?
Good. This is, of course, the famous Jordan Chariton who broke the Susan Sarandon story today, only covered by every outlet in America.
Personally trending on Facebook.
My grandmother called me and asked me, what's a trender?
It's because he was trending on Facebook. Okay, so Jordan, what's going on there on the ground at this speech?
Well, the Stump for Trump girls, who are two African-American sisters, just got off stage. They're known for their rather exuberant presentation of support for Donald Trump. They were talking about how some veterans can't buy a loaf of bread, which got a nice little applause. The crowd is predominantly older and white. There are quite a bit of veterans in the audience. I spoke with two veterans before I came up here. One was Vietnam, and one was actually World War II. So there's quite a few veterans, and they all love Donald Trump. One of them, his name was Joel Sharada, for a taste. He's a Marine, served in Vietnam. When I said, what's Donald Trump going to do for the veterans? He said, I don't know, but can you imagine what's in his head?
No, I can't.
Really.
That's the problem, right? I think that's some issue. So now I want to get a sense of the surrounding here, Jordan, because It's at Drake University. So it was put together at the last minute. How big is the crowd? Is it hundreds? Is it thousands? Did he fill the place?
Oh, no. The room the main room, I would think, is no more than a couple hundred people. It's a small room. We were online, actually, with some students who told us that there's going to be quite a few students from Drake, which is a liberal university, and they said you should expect some protesters.
Yeah.
So I did see some young people in the crowd, too. But definitely not thousands. So if Donald Trump tells you he filled out a $10,000 stadium, then,
Yeah.
I got something. Yeah.
Yeah, no. He hasn't said he's got 10,000 people there yet, but hold. Okay, well, that makes sense. And it's interesting story that Jordan's breaking there, that there might be protesters and some of the students are there. Have you ever seen Jordan not break a story?
He breaks stories in his sleep sometimes. It's an impressive skill. Once a nap of his trended on Facebook, actually.
I once saw him break a story with his head.
That's true.
Like Wasik did, and he
We
broke
don't
the
know
story.
what's inside of his head, but it's capable of breaking stories. We do know that.
Okay, Jordan, I want to ask you, I don't know if you've talked about this to the vets there yet, but maybe after the event as well. Are they aware that Donald Trump tried to have wounded veterans removed from in front of his buildings in New York on Fifth Avenue because he thought that they were unseemly?
Great minds think alike, because that's exactly the first question I plan on asking them after this hit. We actually were left outside to wait with the rest of the media in 10-degree weather for a while, so I haven't been able to interview many people, but I plan on interviewing them about that. That was a pretty hefty story I read, that the hero of the veterans apparently wanted them off Trump Tower's premises.
Yeah.
And you should also, if you get a minute, mention that he prefers soldiers who haven't been captured.
Correct. Another veteran I spoke with, his name was Ted, World War II and Vietnam veteran. He says he likes Trump because, quote, enough of the foolishness from the boy. I asked him who the boy was. He said, Barack.
Ironically, in the whole theater of war, he did by definition, but I don't know if they were ever near one another, but he might have served with Barack's grandfather, who also served in World War II.
That's true.
Right.
I'll point that out. Yeah.
Yeah.
But definitely a older white crowd with racial undertones, I could report.
Do they think that when they call him boy, that's hiding anything?
Yeah, like
I don't think that's as clever as they think it is.
Okay,
I know what the N-word is.
Right. So but Jordan, that's a literal question that I wanted to ask you. When he says boy, I know you're interpreting it, but you were there and you were talking to him. Do you get the sense that he doesn't know that could be offensive, or is there is he kind of like spitting it out like that boy, it's the best of your ability to discern it on purpose?
I actually don't think they're doing it in a malicious way. You have to remember, if he's a World War II and Vietnam vet, he was kind of an adult right before the civil rights era. So this is commonplace to them. They don't think it's racism to talk that way. They just that's I'm not defending it, but that's how they came up. So no, I don't really see there's people who say boy, where you know what they mean, and then there's people who this is how they came up. This is how they were raised.
Right. And
by the way, that is that as much as I can see, that's the crowd Donald Trump is praying on.
Yeah. And they're praying to him probably. Okay, so he has, but John, look at this.
They're reading sections of 2 Corinthians, I think.
Okay, he has managed to capture everybody's attention. There's a debate going on. He's not in, and we haven't talked about any other candidate. Yeah. We're talking about the one guy who is not in the debate.
In my defense, I obviously I want Jordan there because he's probably going to break like 7 stories based on his interviews there. But if it was up to me, we wouldn't have a presence at it.
Oh,
I don't give a fuck about that event.
Oh, damn. He just threw that out there.
Now we have a presence, and we're going to get some good information there. And we do learn a little bit about the sort of crowd and what they believe and everything. But in terms of, the fact that all of these networks are going to be covering it live at the same time that a debate is going on. Like, it's bad enough that the news doesn't inform people, but now it's actively stopping people from being informed, at least to the extent that you would be if you were to watch the debate. They're trying to get people to not watch a debate.
Right. But the difference between myself and CNN's only here for ratings. I'm here because I want to put a face to the, brave soldier who served, but also the misinformed soldier who thinks his man is going to help.
I totally get that. I'm not in any way attacking you. I'm attacking Trump and the networks that have listened to him and done his bidding.
So the difference, I've been talking all day about the difference between us and CNN, partly because of the story Jordan broke with Susan Sarandon. His interview I juxtaposed on the main show to CNN's interview, which was so derisive, so disdainful, right? And what John just did there would be so unacceptable on CNN if one of the hosts on air said, "I disagree with management. We shouldn't even be covering this." I swear to God, because I've been in cable news, there'd be somebody in your ear going, "Go to break, go to break, go to break," right? So we're gonna go to break. No, I'm kidding.
John's gone.
So Jordan, we're gonna check back in with you. I hope after the debate. Now, my guess is the speech will last shorter than the debate, so I might have you stay there for some time. But I want to see how the crowd reacted. I want to see if he said anything crazy, of course, right? So unlike John, I have intellectual curiosity, and
he's got me there.
So
well, just so you know, Trump is scheduled to speak in 15 minutes, which means 45.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So see, you have experience in that as well, because we're not there on the ground, so we don't realize how late he starts. It turns out he starts even later than the Young Turks on average. Okay. All right, so we'll check back in with you after the debates. Thank you, Jordan. Go interview more folks, see what they're up to.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, thank you. We are going to take a break in just a second. So throughout the night, we are going to give you some of your tweets. We'll do the usual play-by-play coverage. We'll talk when we can between the answers. On many of these nights, we've called the issues live, and then they become
news for the next 2 or 3 days.
Next day.
Yeah.
And then, of course, after the debate, we're going to do our usual winner of the debate, loser of the debate. Trump's going to pop up there in somewhere anyway, right?
And you need to watch that stuff right after the debate to get the references next week when Cenk plays video of me being wrong about something. You're going to want to be able to remember back and be like, I remember when he made that mistake.
We're going to have best line of the debate, worst line. Maybe the worst line of the debate could be John's. We'll see.
Never know.
And all the normal awards that we give out. Before we go to break, I do want to ask you, John, you got the polls right in front of you.
Yes.
So obviously, we're also going to cover the Iowa caucus on Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. Giant night, hugely important because of how close Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton are, and to some degree how close Trump and Cruz are. But how close are they, John?
You want Iowa specifically?
I'll take whatever you got.
Well, national, I mean, there's huge range. Just in polls that have been done in the past 8 days, you have Trump up 22 or Trump up 10, depending on if you go with CNN or IBD. The most recent one is plus 10 for whatever that's worth. That's national. In Iowa, the most recent polls have him up 7, 8, 7. I saw one, it's not being aggregated by Real Clear Politics, but I saw one earlier today where he was up 2 over Ted Cruz, specifically in Iowa. And you actually have, in a couple of these recent polls, you have Cruz going down 2 points, maybe 3 points, and I notice Rubio is going up 2 or 3 points.
Yeah, I noticed
maybe
that
feeling
as
up
well.
a little bit of that, yeah.
So
that's Iowa.
Let's pause there to talk about that for a second. So some reporters are saying that they are starting to get a sense of a little bit of a desperation from Ted Cruz. Mm-hmm. So he must have internal numbers showing him sinking, is the assumption, right? And probably a fair assumption, and it doesn't have to be internal. We're seeing it. Most of the polls have him down by about 7, right? Now, 7's a lot of points to make up in a couple of days, unless your primary opponent that is leading does a crazy maneuver.
Doesn't go to the debate, especially if he's internally starting to panic a little bit. And also you combine that with he would get to attack Trump without Trump being able to respond and smack him upside the head instantly. I think there's a good chance that Ted Cruz is just going to throw haymakers at Trump since he's not there.
Yeah, I think that's enormously possible because, remember, Cruz is not a brave guy, right?
No, not when it's real bravery.
Yes.
He'll do this at the camera.
Right,
Not
right.
actually brave.
Yeah, no one is braver towards a camera than Ted Cruz.
Exactly.
Right, but when Trump's in the room, it's all of a sudden Mr. Trump,
Yeah.
and he starts bowing his
Yeah,
head.
at the last one, he was willing to attack him a little bit at the last debate. It didn't work out well for him, and he ended with the...
with the face melt.
But now he doesn't have to worry about getting punched in the face. So I think him and perhaps Jeb Bush might throw a couple little punches.
Yeah, which in some ways is, of course, sadder. Like that they
Yes.
wait till he leaves the bully leaves the room before they talk behind his back.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, that'll be interesting to see. And it'll also be interesting to see if it's in a sense more exciting because he's not there and they're throwing more haymakers because he's not there to respond, or it's more boring and we're like, oh Jesus, it really does need Trump.
Yeah, look,
Right? I don't know. We're going to find out.
I'm going to reiterate what I said earlier today. Thinking back on the past couple of debates, aside from the 9/11 back and forth that he had with Ted Cruz, I don't know what interesting things he has said at these debates. He went on for 25 minutes about tariffs with China, said nothing. He says the same thing. He's going to build a wall. That's new information. He hates Mexicans. That's new information. We assume it's going to be less interesting because he's not there, but I don't know what interesting shit he's done for the past few weeks.
You see, all right, we've developed a thing now, right? So, like, Jimmy has this thing where you know that he's going to get mad at the cops. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's got a thing, right? John's thing is now he hates Trump. He hates him. He can't see straight.
I might vote for him. I don't know.
I like that we've got our
He's
resident.
boring. He's a boring buffoon.
Okay. So, all right, last thing before we take the break. Just give me an Iowa Bernie Hillary update. Because the
okay.
nationwide polls are irrelevant in the case of Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton because she has so much more name recognition and Sanders hasn't gotten that much coverage. National polls are more relevant on the Republican side where they've really aired it out already, right? And everybody's got a lot of airtime. But, okay, so in Iowa, where are
Okay,
they?
so I'm gonna give you the results for the last three. One that closed about 5 days ago had Sanders up by 3. That was an ARG poll. Monmouth closed just 2 or 3 days ago. That had Clinton up by 5. And then again, 2 days ago, NBC's Wall Street Journal poll had Clinton up by 3. And right now, the average on Real Clear Politics is Clinton up by 2.1 points, which is again it's very well within the margin of error.
Right, but that means that sounds like it's trending towards Hillary.
I don't know.
Because
I
it
feel
was
good.
because
Good.
really, that's interesting. Because Bernie Sanders, it looked like he had a bigger momentum, and then now,
Yeah, I mean, he was up in a couple, and now he's not. But
yeah,
we
I
haven't
mean,
we
he was
haven't
up by
seen
8
it.
in one poll.
But
I
we
know it's
haven't-
just one poll.
That's true, but we haven't yet seen him be up in a poll and then down in the next iteration of that same poll. Like he was up in Quinnipiac and ARG. Now he's down in Monmouth and NBC. It's not like the same exact methodology. He was up and now he's down.
Yeah. Now I know Trump's at Drake University, but
Supposedly.
to be fair to Bernie Sanders, he started from the bottom. And now he's here.
That's true.
So that is some movement after all. Okay, super quick break. We'll come back with the whole crew and obviously cover the debate. Look, there's only a couple of days left before Iowa, so the energy is super high. This is going to be enormously important.
Even Jeb Bush is slightly energetic.
And I just heard, oh my God, Jordan broke this story too. Ben Carson has just woken up.
Oh my God.